What's going on YouTube? It's Blurdy and we're talking more about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Now today's video is going to be specifically who I think is going to be returning character to the franchise for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite that previously was in the series. So we're not going to do any new character discussions until we first think who's going to return. So we already know that we're going to have Ryu, we're going to have Captain America, Iron Man, and Morgan as returning characters, with new characters being Mega Man X and Captain Marvel. So who else is going to be our returning characters for this game that previously been in Marvel vs. Capcom? So before I get started, I'm going to first say that the majority of the characters that I'm using, I'm going to put on this list, are already in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that's mainly because they're already borrowing the character models from Ultimate Marvel 3. They're basically reskinning them or up-resing them and using the same type of moves and stuff like that. So a lot of these characters on this list today are going to be characters that were in that game in particular. There's a few that are from previous games, but that's very small. Also, I'm shooting for the initial roster, the release day roster, and I'm not going to put any X-Men or Fantastic Four characters on today's list, and that's mostly because of the video that I previously made. Not saying that they won't be in the game whatsoever, but I do think that they're going to be DLC. So if you missed out on that video, which was pretty well received, and I thank you guys for watching it, I'm going to leave a link in the description below on the whole deal with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It's also going to be the end card to this video, so you'll be able to click it right after this, just in case you want to save it till later. Okay, so last thing, this is going to be a two-part video. Even though it's going to be one video, I'm splitting this list: 10 characters from Marvel side and 10 characters for the Capcom side. So first off, I'm going to start off with Marvel. So at number 10, most expected returning character for the franchise in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is Dormammu. Now let me tell you, this is actually the characters at the end of each list was actually kind of hard for me to pick, especially given the fact that I'm not including the X-Men. It actually left a very limited selection of characters, and I really was on the fence with Dormammu. One, he is the main villain of the Doctor Strange movie, so that just came out a couple months ago. He's kind of fresh in a lot of people's minds, and he was already in the game in Ultimate Marvel 3. So there are fans that are expecting him, or at least would like to see him return, and then there's new people that never played the franchise that can say, oh yes, I remember Dormammu from the movie. So at least there's that. He has a lot of that going for him. He's a Doctor Strange character and so on, so there's a good chance he can come back. They already have the character skin, just like I was saying before. He's already been modeled for Ultimate Marvel 3, so it's easy to put him in Infinite. So Dormammu, number 10. At number 9, I have Iron Fist. Now again, previously in Ultimate Marvel 3, so fairly easy for them to put him back in the game. Also, Iron Fist has a Netflix series coming up, so there's going to be a lot of synergy opportunities there. The season premiere of that is coming in March, I believe. So this game will have been already had Iron Fist established in many people's minds, and he might be one of the more popular characters come summertime for Marvel. So putting him in this game is a pretty easy, maybe safe bet, but he's still kind of obscure. I'm not going to say he's going to be high on this list. That's why I have him at number 9. He's a little obscure still, but that might change after the Netflix series premieres. Okay, at number 8, I'm going to kind of cheat a little, and I'm going to put two people at number 8, and that's Hulk and She-Hulk. Now at least Hulk has been in this franchise for quite some time with Marvel Superheroes and with Marvel 2 and Marvel 3, and She-Hulk was a new character introduced in Ultimate Marvel 3, but I have a little bit of trepidation, and there's maybe because I read too many comics. One of those things is because Hulk is actually dead right now, They killed him off this summer in Civil War II, the comic book series. And what they actually have done with the Hulk character is that they have made it more of a title, and they're passing that title down to She-Hulk, who was also in the same event, pretty brutally beaten by Thanos. And she nearly died, but she's back, she's fine, but she's pissed off that her cousin is dead, so she's now working out the Hulk title as being angry and strong and stuff like that. So there could be more of a push for She-Hulk. They might just call her Hulk in the game. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. But in the very, very least, Hulk is still going to be in Thor Ragnarok, which comes out in November of 2017. So I don't necessarily think they're going to keep Hulk out of the game. And then also there's people that don't read comic books and they just want to play Hulk. They don't really care about what's going on. That's kind of like with Phoenix in Ultimate Marvel 3. Phoenix was dead at the time of that game was released, but because of popular demand, they put Phoenix in there anyway, and she was very well received in the gaming community. So there's a chance I think Hulk's going to be in there, or could just be Hulk, or just could be She-Hulk. And then there's also the whole factor of, the costumes. There's Red Hulk, which was just a alternate skin in Ultimate 3. And then there's Red She-Hulk, was just same thing, another skin. They can make them separate characters. It's hard to say right now, but I'm gonna put all of that as just the number 8 entry, Hulk. At number 7 is Ghost Rider. So here was another kind of oddball character that they put in the Ultimate Marvel 3. Even though he's very popular, he wasn't that popular that he, everyone could expect that he would be in the game. But he was put in there. He is used from time to time. I usually get my butt whooped by Ghost Rider, to be honest with you. But here's the synergy part, is that Ghost Rider was recently featured on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it wasn't Johnny Blaze, however, it was the newer Ghost Rider, Robbie Reyes. Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider has a little bit different things going on for him. One, he uses a car, not a motorcycle. It's an old hot rod or Mustang or whatever it's called, and it's really dope actually. But he still has the penance stare, or at least that's kind of being worked out. But he can still access the same power. So Robbie Reyes could be an alternate skin for Johnny Blaze, and they can possibly just make Robbie Reyes the Ghost Rider instead of Johnny Blaze. It's hard to say, but I think there's a good chance that he'll be making it back as a Marvel character for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. At number 6, we have Thor. So once again, Thor's movie comes out in November, but a popular character, an Avenger. People like Thor. He's got a good thing going on. It'd be great to see Unworthy Thor make it in there with his metal arm and the different Mjolnir axe hammer sort of thing. But that would be really cool. Maybe it'd just be an alternate skin. Either way, there's also the fact that there's Jane Foster as Thor, so we may not even get Thor Odinson, the male version. We may get the female version of Thor, Jane Foster too. So that's throwing out there. I actually wouldn't mind seeing Jane Foster in the game. That would be great. I would love to play her as Thor in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but we'll see. At number 5, I have Rocket Raccoon. So again, more synergy stuff. Character already was placed in Ultimate Marvel 3, very unexpected at the time, but now with the Guardians of the Galaxy being very popular franchise, their movie, the second movie, comes out I believe in May of 2017, so you got a whole lot of opportunity. It's easy for him to be up-resed and just put back into Marvel Infinite. And I honestly don't think Groot is gonna make it in the game, guys, but I think they may rework Rocket and have one of his hyper combos have Groot in it, so it's a little bit more fun, and it'll be like that one sequence with Rocket and Groot together, and they're firing guns, and Groot's just yelling and stuff like that. That'd be really fun. At number 4, so we got our first entry that's not a character from Ultimate Marvel 3, and that's Venom. I think that there's a strong chance that we are going to get some actual new character models for Ultimate Marvel 3, and Venom would be one of them because there's not really anything for them to copy over from Ultimate 3 and put into Marvel Infinite and just reskin as Venom. It's kind of difficult, so it would be a new character model. But Venom is a very popular character and very important to Spider-Man's mythology, and a lot of people really missed Venom in Ultimate 3. He's definitely got a resurgence going on. There actually is a return of Venom coming. Actually, he's already back, I should say, in comics, but there's a big Venom and Spider-Man fight coming in a few months. So there's just a lot of opportunity for Venom to make a big splash in this game and could possibly be telling the future for future Spider-Man movies. And once again, another character that may make a return. This one's actually really tough for me to pick, but it's Thanos. And I say it's tough because we already know that the villain of the game looks to be Ultron and possibly Sigma, maybe some sort of merger there, but it's not Thanos. But you know, we do have the Infinity Stones or the Infinity Gems, whatever you want to call them. They're going to be in the game. Also, this game is probably going to prep us for the upcoming Infinity War movie, so it makes sense that Thanos could still possibly make this roster. He may not be the main villain of this game, but he could just be a playable character. It's hard to say. You kind of think if Thanos is going to be in the game, he'd be the villain, especially since this game does have a story, unlike Marvel vs. Capcom 2, where it's just a bunch of characters and you just pick them. And that's why Thanos could be in that game and just be there. But you know, it's hard to say. If I put him on there, there's a lot of skepticism on that, but it's not a safe bet. I just think it can happen. Number 2 is Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange made his debut in Marvel 3, and coming off of this Doctor Strange movie, which did very well, and he's going to play a huge role in the future of the MCU. I see no reason why Doctor Strange wouldn't make this game at all. Again, he's already been in the game. Take this same character model, maybe give him a new skin, just whatever, just do something. But he has to be in this game. It's not a slam dunk, but it's pretty safe bet. Lastly, the safest bet for Marvel is definitely Spider-Man. He's been in all of the games for Marvel vs. Capcom, so it's 1, 2, 3, and Ultimate 3. It'd be an easy reskin and up-resing or whatever. This character, his moves aren't going to be all that much different. He's very popular, one of the most popular characters at Marvel, and Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out later in July, I believe it is. So it makes the most sense that Spider-Man would make it into Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Before I go into the Capcom list, I just want to say I do doubt that characters like MODOK, Hawkeye, Shumagrath, Nova, and Taskmaster are going to make it back. But the only one that has a chance is Hawkeye, because if they put in Black Widow, which is a video for another day, but if they were to put in Black Widow, it would make no sense that they would leave Hawkeye out, because we're really having all of the Avengers in the game, including Black Widow, but then leave Hawkeye out. It just wouldn't make sense. But I don't necessarily think Black Widow is going to make it into the game. Again, I haven't thought about that enough, but that's a list for another day. As far as MODOK and Shuma, it's just, I don't think there's enough room. There's always a chance, and there's always DLC. Like I said, this list is going for the initial roster, the release day roster. So again, putting Nova in there as a DLC character could totally happen, but I don't think it's going to be a release day Nova or release day MODOK. Alright, let's get this Capcom side of the list going. At number 10, I have Firebrand. Now, Firebrand was in Ultimate Marvel 3, so it would be easy to put him into Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. However, like I said in the previous list, it was hard to pick what's going to be at the end. These last couple characters on the tail end of this list, just only because a lot of people still aren't familiar with Firebrand, and then the audience for Infinite is going to be much different than it was for Ultimate Marvel 3. So picking Firebrand was tough, but I had to pick 10, and he was left at number 10. That's all I have for you. At number 9, I have Hagar, but I'm also going to say Cody. Now, Cody would be new, but they're both in the same franchise as Final Fight. Hagar already was in the franchise of Ultimate Marvel 3, so they could just easily put him in there. But I think there's a chance that they just may go and still honor that franchise, but go in a different direction and put Cody in. Cody is a character again. He's a little, slimmer. He's got the little prison chains and stuff. But there's a chance, that they just may say, no thanks on Hagar. We already did him this one solid and put him in Ultimate 3. Let's move on to another character from that franchise. They can also put Poison in too. Don't get me wrong here. Poison could totally slip her way into this slot too, but that would make her a new character, so that's not this list. But so is Cody, so like I said, I think there's something from Final Fight. It may not be Hagar, it could be Poison, it could be Cody. At number 8, I have Dante. Now this is going to be a little tough because I like Dante and I actually really love him in the game, but I have a hard time putting him on this list, and it's mostly because of this reason. There's Dante, there's Virgil, and there's Trish. They're all from Devil May Cry, and I think, which honestly is a smart move for Capcom and Marvel, is to put a bunch of single one-off characters into the game and then package up the X-Men, package up the Devil May Cry, and what I'm not going to put on this list at all, they can package up the Resident Evil characters like Jill and Chris and Wesker and Nemesis, and say, hey, okay, DLC pack number 1, here's the Resident Evil characters of Jill, Wesker, and Chris and Nemesis for $20. And you can package up the Devil May Cry characters. Here's all of these characters for $15, $20. Here's the X-Men. Here's Wolverine, Storm, Magneto, and Sentinel for $20. Like, that would be really smart, at least in my mind, for them to do that. They may just go ahead and put Dante in the game by himself. It's a tough call, and that's why I have him at 8, because I wasn't sure which way to go with this. To leave him off and say he'll be DLC, or put him in there and say the other two are just going to be DLC. It was really tough. At number 7, doing another old character, new character slash thing, is Akuma, but also slash Ken. So I think definitely there are going to be Street Fighter characters in this game. There's already a rumor of Rashid being included into the roster, but which one? Are we going to get Akuma or are we going to get Ken? Akuma was in Ultimate 3, Ken was not, inexplicably, and I totally miss Ken. I loved Ken in Marvel 2, but we already have Akuma, and there's been a lot of Akuma hype lately, especially with Street Fighter 5, just putting him in there recently. So what are we going to get? It's hard to say. One of them, right? At number 6, I have Arthur. So just like I said with Firebrand, they have synergy. You're gonna have Firebrand, you have to have Arthur. You don't necessarily need Firebrand if you have Arthur though. But I do think they're going to continue to honor their legacy characters, and Arthur would be one of them. That's all I got for you. I just think Arthur's just going to be in the game. That's it. At number 5 is Zero. Now we again know that Mega Man X specifically is going to be in this game and not Mega Man, so that means that's no roll and no Rush, none of those characters, and that unfortunately also means Tron Bonne. I don't think she's gonna make it either, but that could mean that X characters like Zero would make it into the game. So again, he already exists. It would be super easy to put him in the game, and as the word on the street is that the story is gonna heavily be influenced by Mega Man. He's going to be a very important character, so he's got to have supporting characters too, and Zero would be a supporting character for Mega Man X, so I think Zero will be back. Number 4, Felicia, Darkstalkers. People still love Darkstalkers, and Felicia has been a character that's been thrown in these games, and I don't even know how many people really like Felicia. They typically go to the Morgan, and there's other Darkstalker characters that people love, but I think Capcom just really loves putting in Felicia, and I love seeing her there. She's actually fun to use and nice to look at, I guess. But Felicia, she'll be there, most likely. Highly expected. Number 3, Frank West. Now, Dead Rising 4 just came out recently, so there's no reason to believe that Frank West won't make it back into Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Again, another character that was in Ultimate 3. Tons of fun, tons of personality. Hella annoying to fight against, at least for me. But yeah, Frank West, he'll be back for sure. Like, he's number 3. He's got. I have to be right about this, right? At number 2 is Strider Hero. I hope I said that right. I didn't even know, but yeah, everyone loves Strider. The fact that he wasn't even in the initial roster for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was very shocking, but they put him right in there in Ultimate 3. I expect him to be in the initial roster for Marvel Infinite. No joke, he's one of the classics. He's so fun to use. Like, literally everyone loves Strider, so he's gotta be there. And number 1 has to be Chun-Li. Chun-Li is like a staple character for Capcom. When you think of Street Fighter characters, you think of Ryu, you think of Ken, and then you think of Chun-Li. Like, it usually is in that order. And Chun-Li, being the strongest woman in the world, she usually has a heavy influence on any story of any of the games that she's in. She's been in Marvel 2, she's been in Marvel 3. She's a Street Fighter character, and Capcom is mostly Street Fighter. Like, she has to be in this game. Again, a staple to not only the Marvel franchise, the Street Fighter franchise, but just to Capcom in general. Chun-Li is a lock for being into this game. Alright, that wraps it up. My top 10 most expected returning characters for both Marvel and Capcom. I will be doing more top 10 lists. Like I said, I didn't want to do new characters yet until we talked about the old ones, so we'll be back and I'll be making separate lists for new characters from Marvel and Capcom in the coming weeks. So make sure you subscribe for more. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like button and share, subscribe, and do all those good things, and I will see you next time.